Before we jump right into this episode, I want to take a minute to thank our sponsors of the podcast, Switch Nutrition. I take Switch Nutrition's products every single day, but there's two specifically I want to talk about on this episode. It is the Adrenal by Switch and the Hydrate by Switch. Now, the Hydrate I take every single morning with water to make sure that I'm fully equipped to attack the day's activities. The Hydrate formula that is in the Hydrate product at Switch is a combination of magnesium, sodium, and potassium, which are all essential to have when you're consuming your water. Water won't cut it. But another ingredient that is included in this supplement is coffee berry. Now, coffee berry is an amazing antioxidant and nootropic that is really good for brain function. So it's also a really good supplement to have when you have those afternoon slumps or you're just trying to attack the day and you need something without caffeine in your morning. And the second product is my absolute favorite. It is my baby. I've been taking it for years now, and it is the Adrenal. More specifically, the chocolate flavor. I'm going to advocate for the chocolate flavor because I love it so much. I have it in hot water with a little dash of milk every single night. It is like a hot chocolate before bed, but with so many benefits. The compound that you find in Adrenal is a combination of ashwagandha, zinc, and magnesium, which all help so much when it comes to winding down your body. The product was actually created for people that want to train later on in the afternoon, and it's not good for your body because it shocks your central nervous system. And this product was designed to help calm that central nervous system down so you can wind down and have a good night's sleep. Now, people started using it as a sleep formula, and that's when the product really started to take off. I use this product every single night before bed and I sleep like a baby. If you are interested in the Hydrate or the Adrenal by Switch Nutrition, be sure to use Chris Griffin at checkout when you go to switchnutrition.com.au and you will get 20% off everything on their website. Once again, that is switchnutrition.com.au. And if you use the code Chris Griffin, you'll get 20% off at checkout. So without further ado, let's get into the show. Annabelle, before the show, I got you to write down a quote for me, something that you love, something that came to mind straight away. And you wrote a couple, but the one that came to mind straight away was, there's no growth without discomfort and there's no discomfort without growth.
Yes.
I'm so intrigued by that quote and what that means to you.
Yeah, well, I feel like if you want to grow or pursue what, I don't know, sparks that interest in you, it's never going to be comfortable. If it is, I feel like you're not able to grow as a person and push yourself out of that comfort zone, I guess. And then if you flip it, there's no
discomfort without growth.
Discomfort without growth. Yeah. Essentially, it's just encompassing that nothing worth working for is going to become easy.
Yeah, and then also what it is the reason it's uncomfortable or you're in discomfort is because you don't know how to do that thing. And through not knowing how to do something is where you grow.
Yeah.
Because like you're not learning anything new when you're doing the same shit.
Yeah.
And then like through that growth, through leveling up in your life, that's by actually doing shit that you don't know how to do.
Yeah. And learning a new thing it's always hard because it's so much more knowledge that you're taking on board and picking up little things from everywhere, all the people you meet, places, and yeah.
Have you heard of the 4 stages of learning?
No.
Or experience, whatever it is. But basically what it is when you first start something for the very first time, you're unconscious that you're incompetent at that thing. Mm-hmm. So you're basically, you don't know how bad you are at that thing before you do it. And then you like dive into the thing and you do it and you realize you're conscious of how shit you are at that thing. So you're like, okay, I've done this, like my first clean or whatever. I'm so bad at some of the things in the gym. It's like I get there, I've never done it before, and then I'm like, oh, this will be okay. And then I do it and I realize that I'm fucking shit at this thing.
Yeah.
And then what happens is you start to get good at that thing by doing it time and time again. You're now consciously competent. Mm-hmm. So you're like, okay, I'm conscious, I have to think about it, but I'm competent at doing the thing. And then when you progress past that stage, you're at an unconscious competence, meaning you can do it with your eyes shut.
Yeah.
So it's like you can do some of the movements in the gym that you've been training for ages easily with your eyes shut. It's just like you know the movement.
Just second nature, yeah.
Because you're now unconsciously competent. It's like the phases of learning. I feel like where most people drop off though is they get excited, they do this thing.
Yeah, the middle part.
And then they jump in and then now that they're conscious of how shit they are and they go, I'm out of this. I'm not doing this. Yeah. Have you found with your training, have you changed your style of training throughout the years? Has it always been very similar?
It's definitely progressed. I started off kind of just going to the gym, lifting weights, trying to figure out machines. I don't really know what was going on. I just looked at other people and was like, okay, yeah, I guess that's how you do it. And then, progressed into the more functional side of it and joined a few group classes. And it was only middle of last year, this year, I decided to start running. And running seems easy enough, and then you start doing it back on what you said. You're like, oh, I'm actually pretty shit at this. I'm dying. Why am I dying so much? And I've actually tried to start and failed quite a few times because, like you said, you get to that point and you're like, oh, no, I'm bad at it. I'm not going to do something that I'm bad at. But signing up for a half marathon or a marathon, you have that tangible end goal in place. So you've got no other choice but to push through that difficult part, and then you start to get better.
Having that goal is so important, hey, because then when the times get tough, you know why you're doing it. Because if you don't have that thing, you kind of go through this really challenging time and then you question why you're doing the thing in the first place. It's like you're pulling the arrow back and you just don't have a target to shoot at. So you're like, okay, where am I shooting this bad boy?
Anyway,
yeah, it's so fascinating. Another quote that you did say as well before, which I'm really intrigued to unpack, is everything happens for a reason. Now, that's a very broad quote, but I think that has a meaning that is different for a lot of other people, and it's probably based on experiences in their life. But talk to me about that. When you say everything happens for a reason, how come you say that?
Just because I'm sure everyone else, you go through some ups and downs and you don't realize the importance of those downs until you're a year or two later, once you're past the low point, you're back high again. And when you are in that low point, I guess it's just really important to remember that everything happens for a reason, and you're not going to feel this way forever. You're going to get through it, and then you're going to look back and be like, oh, okay, that's why that happened, because if that didn't happen, that wouldn't have led to this, or whether it's personal growth or growth in your business or friendships, relationships.
How important are the low times, do you feel?
If not more important than the highs, because I think when you aren't feeling yourself, you get to really, or when you're not feeling your best, you really understand yourself, I guess, and it tells you a lot about yourself, how you navigate through it as well, and how you deal with certain situations.
The lows also make the highs.
Exactly, yeah.
Because if you didn't have lows, then the highs would just be normal.
Yeah, riding on, that would be
It'd just be normal, right? I catch myself when I'm in low times, I remind myself of that every single time now. And it's almost a weird thing now. Whenever I'm in a low, I just start laughing because you know how special the highs are going to be because of it. Has there been any low times for you that, might have changed the trajectory of your life or the path that you're on? Has there been some really low lows that really has helped you, or you've used them as fuel to help slingshot you forward?
I've had a couple injuries, but I feel like I've been pretty lucky. No serious ones. I've had just a couple breaks in my hands, but again, broken bones is probably the thing you want over tendons or stuff. And 6 weeks quick recovery to get through that. Nothing. I've been pretty fortunate. Nothing springs to mind.
So that's athlete related, but personally, have you had certain challenges? Obviously you don't need to share anything if you don't want to, but has there been certain breakups, or has there been anything where it's kind of really rocked you around a little bit and you kind of had to get back up on your feet?
Okay. Yeah. Personally, yeah, definitely. There was one at the start of COVID that knocked me around pretty much. And I feel like once you get through that difficult point, and especially if you've been in a longer term relationship, the growth after when you start to be by yourself and you can give yourself 100% of your attention, you start to change a lot as a person. And that's, after that, I'm very grateful for. Back to everything happens for a reason. If that didn't happen, I probably wouldn't be the person I am now.
One of my favorite quotes is by Steve Jobs, and he says, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards." And so it's basically like, you don't know where you're going to be in the next 12 months, but then when you get there, you can look back and know exactly how you got there. And that's so crazy, because whenever you're in a decision-making process, or whenever you're faced with adversity, whatever it might be, that's going to shape you in the direction that where you're going to go. Like, that's going to shape your path. And being able to get to the end point and look back on that when you are on the top of the mountain, or when you have reached a high, or even a low for that matter, you can look back and connect those dots.
It's pretty crazy. I was having this conversation with a friend the other day. 5 years seems like so long, but in the scheme of things, it's not. And if you look back to where you were 5 years ago, you're probably living a completely different life, and you just think how many different lives you'll live throughout like your existence, I guess.
It's crazy, because also like the thing about that is 5 years seems like a lot, but even 12 months, like that is flying by. Like, you blink and like a whole year's gone by, but then all this life has happened.
Yeah, like if I look back to where I was 12 months ago now, completely different goals, completely different mindset and trajectory. And yeah, I mean, you've moved cities. I don't think, did you know you were going to move?
No, I didn't know I was going to move like 2 weeks before I moved. Yeah. You said your goals changed and different things changed in your life. Why? Was there a catalyst?
I think just the style of training. With social media, I used to kind of get swept up in what everyone else was doing. If I saw something, I would assume I would have to be doing that in order to, one, grow on Instagram, but then also for my own goals, if I wanted to, look a certain way. And it wasn't until midway through or end of last year, I realized I was hitting a slump with training. I didn't want to go to the gym. And I was trying to find why exactly that was, and it was because I didn't actually like what I was doing. I wasn't doing it for me. I was doing it to look a certain way, and because I thought, again, that's what you had to do. And then it was, the end of last year where I kind of really honed into, training to feel good, not look a certain way. And through social media, I think everyone else kind of picked up that I was actually really, really passionate about what I was putting out and how I was training. And that growth has just come from that as well, which has obviously opened up a lot more avenues.
Yeah. But then training to feel good often reflects that on your body too. You look good because you're motivated to do it. It's like when you actually enjoy the stuff that you're doing, it's a lot easier to do it, right? It's like when you said before, you weren't progressing in your training, and when you're not progressing in something, it's hard to be motivated to do it. Like as humans, we seek progression. So when it's lacking, we really struggle.
Yeah, and when you're fixated on the performance aspect, you're not looking at like the mirror every single day wondering why you're not seeing instant results, when in reality results are going to come after 12 weeks. But most people, again, going back to what we were talking about before, you give up in that first little bit because you're not seeing results instantly. Whereas if you focus on that performance aspect, you can just focus on like either improving a weight, improving a distance, improving a time, and those results you can see a lot more frequently, and you're kind of getting that fix, and you got a little more likely to stay consistent. That's
so interesting. The results, you're getting a quicker feedback loop. Like you're progressing in your weight, you're increasing your amount of reps or your amount of weight or your run time or whatever that might be. And you get that result way quicker than when you look in the mirror and see the inches on your waist or your bum. Yeah.
And when you get that result, you're like, oh, cool, I want to even more. You get addicted to that feeling of, bettering yourself. I've experienced firsthand with marathon training. I wasn't great runner when I started off. And then by the time it got to weeks 9 and 10, I finally started really seeing progress. And I'm like, oh, shit, I love this feeling. I want to keep going and see how far and good I can actually get.
Yeah, wow. Do you think running's more addictive than, like, is running addictive?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you can get past the hard part, then it's, runner's high is definitely a real thing.
Runner's high is a real thing. I've never been a bad runner because I
Yeah.
had played footy at a high level, so I had like a really good aerobic baseline, but I have never taken it like seriously. I've never like run. I've never had times or I would stay in zone 2 or whatever. I literally would just run for the mental sake of it. But for you, do you see yourself doing this marathon and then trying to do something else? Or do you feel like staying in that hybrid style of training where you can be a good runner, be aerobic like that, but then also strength train?
I bought a bike. I've already bought a bike. So triathlons are on the horizon.
Really?
And I'd love to do a 100K trail race.
Really? Trail race, 100K run.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You're a maniac. It is one of those things where it's like you climb one mountain and you just look at you look up and you just see another big one. That's insane.
And it's interesting because when I say that sort of thing, I don't think of it as such a enormous feat because I have so many friends who have done it. Like I have a friend who did a 100-mile, which is 160 Ks and it took him 24 hours. And then my mum, she's done an Ironman. So like so many people have done way bigger feats than me. So I'm like, I don't feel like I am that good by doing that because so many other people have already done it.
Right. So you have this belief that it's possible because you've seen the people around you do it. You said your mum there. Talk to me about childhood upbringing. I actually got told literally just before by someone upstairs that you're from Toowoomba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who said that?
He's from Toowoomba as well.
True.
So anyway, so you're from Toowoomba. You grew up there, go to school there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Family's there still? Or?
Mum's still there. Dad's in Brisbane and then my brother's in Brisbane as well. But yeah, they're all into like running and triathlons and everything. So growing up, I kind of assumed fitness was normal, I guess. And my mum would always try and get me into running as well as my dad because they all loved it. And yeah, I was like, nah, that's not for me. I was into sports as well. I touch football. So short, sharp bursts were kind of more my forte rather than prolonged, sustained efforts. And so when I started running, Mum saw that and she was actually the one who was like, let's run a marathon together.
Are you running with your mum?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
She's already a lot better than me, so I'm kind of doing damage control to try and keep up with her.
So she's a runner too.
Yeah.
So you were athletic as a kid then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very. I kind
In
of
school, did you do all like the athletics and all that
I did
stuff?
everything. So
You're a sprinter. I reckon you would have done like a couple hundred.
I did some hurdles.
You did some hurdles from here to there. That's great.
But again, like I was that one kid in PE who took it way too seriously.
You're one of those ones.
I was in dodgeball pegging balls at kids.
You were trying so hard.
I was.
To be honest, it reminds me of a mate, Ethan, at school. He was like that guy as well. Whereas I was just like that fuckwit, like cool kid that would not try as much. Whereas like
too cool for it.
Yeah, I look back, I'm like, I wouldn't be friends with me at school. But like my mate Ethan, I just remember he was like this athletic kid, but he just tried so hard, and you would see him like be dripping sweat. He's like,
was he good?
Sorry,
was he good?
Yeah, he was good. He was one of those guys that was pretty good at everything.
Yeah.
Was that you?
Yeah, like I did swimming, basketball, like I everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dabbled in a bit of badminton, did some rowing. Yeah.
You're like, what? Okay, I'm just trying to think. I was going to think about the things that I did well, but I also, an easier question to answer was what did not do? What did I not do? You just did it all.
I just loved sport and being active. And I think that's, again, why I love hybrid training so much, because I just like doing it all. Like, I don't really like to pigeonhole myself into, doing one thing. Yeah.
Hybrid training's getting extremely popular though.
Very.
Like it's ridiculous. Everyone devises hybrid training. I think it's great. I think it's so cool because finally it's a training that's actually holistic and there's so much to it, like beating that. I was on a run the other day. I did like a 20K run just with a friend, and
Naturally.
we're talking about, yeah, but like I don't run. I was telling you this yesterday. Like, if I do a run, it would just be like a one-off.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I can walk normally today, but we were talking about hybrid training, and I was trying to think of what the main thing about it is. And the conclusion I came to is hybrid training is beating the stigma that you can be muscly and be a runner.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
that's
funny,
what it
you
is.
see like the guys who are really, really good at running and weights, they just got a jacked up a body and then these like lean running legs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Because I see you
it's
guys
really cool.
post all the time. You go like it's like beating that stigma. It's like the content that goes really well. It's like you can't lift weights and run and all this stuff, like that content.
Yeah. And I think if anything, this marathon training is even proving to me that you can. Even I had doubts because I feel like it's blasted everywhere that, yeah, if you want to lift heavy, you can't run long distance because it contradicts each other. For your muscles, long distance running, you're elongating them, and then obviously strength training, you're probably shortening them, different muscle fiber types. But yeah, it just all connects. You need your strength training to be able to run long distances and not essentially break down.
Yeah, I think that's so important as well. Like having the actual strength in there. Make sure you're strengthening your legs, Jim, to withstand that long distance.
Yeah, because those who just do go and start running and then they get injured, it's probably because they're neglecting that strength training.
Yeah, it's fascinating. For people starting out in running, I reckon you would have a lot of people that would follow you that are like really inspired to start running.
So many people have messaged me or like tagged me in their stories and say, I'm starting running because you, which is crazy to me because I used to hate running so much. So now to think I'm inspiring people to go for a run is, yeah, insane.
What's the thing that makes you tick the most about social media?
What do you mean?
Like, what do you like what, like out of every facet of it, like the video creation, the posting, the feedback, or the people messaging you saying you've really inspired me, the working with the brands, like what part do you love the most about it?
It's definitely changed. I used to just, post to keep myself accountable just for the love of wanting to do it. But really, when I have noticed the most growth over the last 4 months and so, the amount of messages and tags and stuff for people saying, like paragraphs saying how much I've inspired them, and when they go to my page, how much it motivates them, which is the best best feedback I could get, honestly. The last thing I would want is someone to go to my page and just be comparing themselves to me and be like, oh, I want to look like her. I'll, start dieting, restricting and everything to look a certain way. But I feel like I've definitely now gone down the trajectory of posting specific content so you can get value out of it and, again, feel that motivation. So when people message me and say that they do find that motivation from my page, it's pretty cool.
How inspiring is it? Like,
yeah,
it's for me, because I get messages as well, and it's the ultimate inspiration when you can inspire someone else. That makes you so inspired to keep going. It's like this ultimate snowball effect where it's like the more people say that I've inspired them, the more inspired I get to keep inspiring.
And then you keep going, yeah.
And then you keep growing, and then you keep getting more of those messages. And obviously it can get tough sometimes, but for me, I like there's certain ones that I just have screenshotted and saved in my favorites. So then whenever I am lacking a bit of motivation, I can go and read it and go, holy shit, like I need to keep doing this.
Even when I released my first program in February, the amount of messages I got about girls just like loving it, like thank you for finally releasing a program and everything. It's, yeah, pretty cool because I've already wanting to do that for ages, and to hear that positive feedback, it's, yeah.
Do you think launching that program, were you very scared? Was there a level of imposter syndrome maybe that you had about launching a program?
I get imposter syndrome all the time, especially how young I am as well. Like,
how old are you?
23.
23.
Yeah. And there's so many other girls in the fitness industry. It's a very populated industry, and you constantly think, oh, I don't know enough about this. I don't know if I should voice my opinion on this because there's people who, you know, have more experience, more knowledge, and yeah, it can be very, very scary, but you know, people follow you for a reason and they enjoy your product you're giving. And yeah, I guess if you don't try, then, you know, you're already sacrificing that.
Do you know what shut my imposter syndrome in the foot? Don't get me wrong, it still comes back, but the reason I started posting in the first place, because I used to have this hectic doubt of like who's going to listen to me? Who's going to want to hear my value? Like, right, I'm not an expert. And then my mentor told me this. I've said it time and time again, but I think it's so powerful. As he says, you don't have to be the best at what you're teaching. You just need to be 3 steps ahead of the people that you're teaching. You just need to be 3 steps ahead. And what's so powerful about that is the people that are down in the mud and they need some help, they don't look at someone all the way up here and relate to them.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like they're so far away, I can never achieve that. Whereas if there's someone that's 3 steps ahead, they can't quite reach you. Like they can't quite reach you, but they have the belief that they can maybe, and they're close. And so they look at you and go, okay, you're a few steps ahead. You're the person that's going to help me, not the person up there.
Yeah.
And when you understand that, you realize that everyone right now have people that are 3 steps behind them. And everyone has some way that they can help people. But the imposter syndrome and the belief that who are they to be speaking, and this disbelief and self-doubt is the reason that's stopping them from sharing their message to the world.
It's funny you say that because throughout, well, so many people have been following, I guess, essentially my marathon training block. And I think it's because the people who have followed me from, you know, week 1 and they see where I am now, they're like, oh, okay, she's literally shown us tangible evidence of her progressing, and like, oh, okay, I can do that as well, which is,
It's the belief that it's possible. As you said before, like the people around you have already done marathons, your mum's a beast and stuff, so you have the belief that it can happen. Whereas these people that follow you, they might not have a mum that runs marathons, so they don't have that belief. So then when they see you start day 1 and then they see how far you've come, they go, oh, like I can do that too.
Yeah.
And that's that belief part. That's really powerful. That inspires people.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, you have that power, I guess.
Yeah. I want to ask you something. You mentioned in one of your posts in the description, you said, focusing on being present and enjoying the process. Life has been good. You said that. And to say something like that, I've seen it time and time again because I see things and I've spoken to a lot of people. But to say something like that, focusing on being present and enjoying the process, life has been good. When you say something like that, there has to be an opposite emotion to spark that.
Yeah.
There has to be a moment in your life that was really challenging and it was very hard for you to stay present and enjoy the process. Would I be right in saying that?
Oh, 100%. If you've ever dealt with social media, it's not like a normal 9-to-5 job. You don't do your morning routine, you go to work, switch on, you go home, you switch off. Social media, it's your life, essentially. So I just got in a really bad routine of whenever I was out to breakfast or when I was out to coffee with a friend, my mind the whole time was thinking, oh, I should take a photo of this coffee. I should get my friend to take a photo of me. I need to document this, get content to, keep in storage or put on my story. And I just was not present at all because they'd be talking to me and in my mind I was just thinking about all of that, and it's not fair on them. I'm not giving them 100% of my attention when they're trying to, taking time out of their day to catch up with me. And even when I was with my family, I'm like, oh, I should, like, for example, like Christmas or something, I should, post photos and everything. And it got to, probably when I moved to the Gold Coast, probably this year, I was surrounded by, a lot of good people that I've met through the gym, and they, really took their time to generally want to get to know me. And I realized, like, you can separate it. It takes a lot of time and effort to, hone on that skill. But even running used to be that thing where I was really present. And then I started doing running content. So then running started to become work, and I was really struggling to, have that time to switch off. So, I've learnt that surrounding myself with friends is truly the one time that I can be present. So when I'm with friends, that's a no work zone. It's helped.
I posted a video the other day. I said, Pov, you film all of the highlights of your day, but by doing so, you strip away the presence from all the highlights of your day.
That's so true. Yeah.
How hectic is that?
Yeah.
Oh, I literally was thinking about it because I'm the exact same. You go, fuck, this is so good. Let's film it. Straight away you think, oh, let's get a video. Let's get a photo. And it's like this natural instinct.
Even you see videos at concerts. Everyone's got their phone out. And like quickly snap a video, but just enjoy the moment, take it in, because when are you going to get to experience that again? Yeah,
and it's funny because there's positives and negatives to it, of course. Like you then get to make a video out of that and you can relive that amazing moment through the video, which I love. And I love having things documented. And when you don't document things, sometimes I go,
I wish I
forgot.
did.
I wish I did. So it's a double-ended sword, and I recognize that. But at the same time, sometimes you wish that wasn't the way your mind was wired. Like, why do I need to take a photo of this meal right now?
Yeah.
I've ate the same meal 20 times. Why do I need to post? Why do I need to post this? Like, let's fucking enjoy it. And or when you're with people. I think when you're with people, that's the main thing. I mean, I had a really sour taste in my mouth with some of my mates that I used to hang out with a fair bit. And I found they were always on their phone. And yeah, it was work, but like you need to understand the value of being present when you're with someone. And so for me, when I'm with people, I really try and not have my phone on me, not do everything. I understand that like I need to get videos posted, need to get stuff like this, but I also recognize like no one's going to die if I don't post at 7 p.m.
No, literally.
Like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And so unless something's really urgent, like if something's urgent and someone comes in and I'm doing something or I'm with someone, I'll say, hey, look, I need 10 minutes to do this, and then I'm all yours.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's respectful.
And they'll understand that as well, because at the end of the day, it is work.
But whereas if you say nothing and then you're on your phone,
then
the other person can be like, this guy is a bit disrespectful here, you know? So I think it's really important to try and be present, but it does get hard, hey?
Yeah, it does. But yeah, when you do, you realize it makes you a lot happier because you're able to give yourself a break, I guess, and just let your mind truly relax. When I'm driving, that's my time. I'm by myself. That's when my mind goes crazy, like thinking of ideas and everything. But yeah, when I'm with people, it's a good distraction.
It's when your mind goes crazy with ideas, but it probably also the other way around as well.
Yeah.
Your mind goes crazy with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you battled with like overthinking in the past? Do you find yourself like, I don't know, getting caught in your head with a lot of things?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, definitely when I'm by myself, and which is a lot of the time considering, social media, it's a very isolating job because you're not going into an office surrounded by people. But again, I've found using that that's why I still coach at the gym, because I value that human connection and I need, that time away from my own thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hectic. It's so hectic. I was going to say something that slipped my mouth. Forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, it's one of those things where I struggle with it too, because you have the most amount of attention you've ever had in your life, millions of views, hundreds of messages, yet you kind of feel the most lonely you've ever been in a sense. It's a weird dichotomy.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, because again, when you're on your phone, you feel connected, but as soon as you put your phone down, you realize you're just alone, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird feeling. you're connected but disconnected at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that's where, you know, when you don't know what it's like being in the limelight and being in the spotlight, you don't really have this perspective. I was broadened a lot with my ex-girlfriend, actually. This was before I even was on social media and had any following, and she's a model, and you know, like the challenges that come with that and being in the spotlight, comparison of yourself, and like comparing yourself to when you were lighter, or how when you looked a certain way, or when you were getting this reaction instead of what I'm getting now, and this hectic comparison loop, and it can fuck you up in so many different ways, and I witnessed that.
The growth is almost addicting when you're in that phase, and then as soon as it stops, you're like, it affects your mood almost, because you're like, what am I doing wrong? Because essentially you're failing at your job. You're not doing well in your job when you're not seeing that growth, and it's I
remember when mine was slowing down, and I was still gaining like 1,000 followers a day.
Yeah, which is still a
and when
lot.
you actually think about it and you go, 1,000 people, you can't fit that in this studio right here. Like that's a lot of people every day, net positive, like plus the ones that unfollow. There's a lot of new people, but you're in your head about like slowing down.
It's weird when you think about numbers as actual people, something I never do. And it's only when I go out for a run, every single time I get at least 3 to 10 people messaging me, oh, hey, I saw you out for a run. Like, what? I just assume no one sees me, or no one recognizes me.
Or you get like a screen, a yell out or whatever, or like something like that when you're running. It's so funny. But it was funny. The thought that comes to mind straight away there was, I remember when I first did 100,000 on Instagram, I was in Melbourne and we're going to the AFL game at the MCG, and the capacity of the stadium is 100,000. It's like the biggest stadium in the Southern Hemisphere. Massive, like huge stadium. And I remember it ticked over just as I was like walking in. It was weird timing. And all you see on Instagram is a 1, a 0, a 0, and a K. That's it. And then I look up and I remember going, I could fill this whole stadium right now.
Yeah, with everyone
and
who knows
it puts things
who
into
are.
perspective, right?
Yeah.
But not even knows who you are, people who follow you. Because you've got all the people that have seen your face, they know you.
Yeah, that's true.
You got all the people that know your name and seen your face and they don't follow you. You got all the people that have seen your face, they recognize you, but they don't know your name.
Yeah.
Like you've got all of these people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like when you actually think about it,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a level of pressure that you get, or are you quite numb to certain stuff now?
I feel like I'm pretty numb to it, only because I think I'm in denial.
What do you mean?
Again, not recognizing how many people that actually is, or because it's all really happened quite quickly, I still envision myself the same as, 3 years ago. Like I walked down, Burleigh. No one knows who I am. I'm just another girl going for the hot girl walk.
Yeah.
But the amount of looks I get, I'm like, are they looking at? Oh yeah,
It's
they're looking
weird,
at me. That's
eh?
right. They probably know I am. But yeah, it's
weird, hey. It definitely the excitement wears off though, hey.
It's a weird feeling.
Do you ever have really challenging days and you just don't want to fucking be seen?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's when I don't leave my house.
You just don't leave.
But
the
then
house.
it's hard when you have to film something that day and you're like, I do not feel like being on camera. This is I'm already a pretty shit day, to be honest. And you've got to do it anyway because, the brand needs something that day. That's one of the shit things about it. But,
what are the things that people don't see?
I just chill out a lot. Like I really enjoy my alone time. I used to be very, very shy, very, introverted. And when I started coaching, it forced me to go out of my shell. Again, it was going back to that quote, everything happens for a reason. If I didn't start coaching and, get over my fear of being the first one to introduce myself to people, because that's your role as a coach, making other people feel welcome when they're walking into a completely new space. then I wouldn't have the, people skills and social skills now when I'm associated with Move With Us and I'm greeting girls in our community or run clubs and everything. And I'm running these things, talking to hundreds of people. If I was still that shy girl who, didn't go out of her way to meet people and make other people feel confident, I probably wouldn't be in the situation that I am today. And yeah, it's even funny, people who knew me, 4 years ago compared to now, they're like, wow, you're a lot more confident now because I've been thrown in the deep end and, forced to evolve, I guess.
Yeah, like when you say you're a lot more confident now, you mentioned thrown in the deep end. What do you think the main things are like that make you confident? Like where do you think confidence comes from?
Definitely, I feel like when you're confident in yourself, it helps a lot to then project it onto other people. And I think at the moment I'm confident in my training. I'm really enjoying training. I'm happy in my personal life. And yeah, I'm able to, reflect that on other people and talkative. And, when you're feeling good, you're a lot more inclined to actually be interested in someone saying and, be present, like you said, or like we were talking about earlier. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, well, obviously it's like energetic. If you're confident, you're giving off that vibe, you're going to be able to, people are going to like connect with you a bit more. They're going to be inspired by you more. And I feel like it's funny. Do you think that when you're having bad days and good days, it reflects in the content?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you reckon people pick up on it? Or do you not document, you don't really document like of you speaking too much so people wouldn't really know? Because I feel like in your tonality, they'd pick up on that.
Yeah, maybe not. I've definitely filmed a few videos when the last thing I feel like doing that day is filming. But again, there's like a music over it and stuff. You probably don't really pick it up. But yeah, I guess it just goes back to Instagram being a highlight reel as well.
Yeah. Talk to me about the growth on social media. Like you mentioning a few years, like when did it really start to take off?
I was scrolling through before trying to find, because I remember I posted a quote as a caption. Anyway, I saw one post from February last year and it was talking about just hitting 100K.
February last year?
Yeah. And I'm now about to hit 400.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what, like, February last year, you just about to hit 100K?
I just hit it, yeah.
Just hit 100K.
And now a year later, I'm 300,000 more people.
That's crazy.
And then the year before that, I was only hitting 10K. So 2 years ago, I had 10K.
Wow.
That's what I mean, where I'm like just in denial, thinking I'm just the same as before.
When the numbers grow, what changes in your life?
I think just opportunities that present themselves. And yeah, well, I think when I first started growing, I was full-time working at a gym and then slowly dropped those hours back as, other work started coming in. And yeah, I feel like I'm very proud of how I've dealt with all my personal relationships and even just myself as a person. I feel like I'm still the same person, which I'm, again, like I said, really proud of, because I know some people who have changed when, they start gaining followers, they kind of think the number of followers equates to their worth, I guess, but it's really just a number.
It's funny, hey, Lewis Capaldi has a sick quote and he says, fame doesn't change you, fame changes the people around you.
Yeah.
It's pretty hectic because you might not change. As you just said, you go like, fuck it, I'm in denial. Like I'm just the same girl. Like I'm just this girl that loves fitness, right? And now I just happen to make money from it.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden that's your thoughts, but you've got all these people that would be reaching out to you, like wanting to connect, and you start to, at least for me personally, unfortunately, with the thought that comes into your mind is, do they want me for me or for what they can do for what I can do for them?
100%. Yeah. Even when, people see you out and they start talking to you, they're like, are you talking to me because I have a following, or do you genuinely want to have a conversation with me? And even you can tell by the, you know, the tone and the topic of the conversation if they're just talking about, you know, gym, Instagram, everything, and not, you know, how's your day? Like, how was your week? How was your weekend? And yeah, generally want to have a conversation. It's, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, 100%. What about guys and dating? Is that more of a challenge with following? Do you feel like it's the same? Are they more attracted to you because of the number on your Instagram? I'm intrigued by this. I'm interested.
You're like, just been dying to ask this question.
I'm so intrigued by this because for me now, especially because I've got a following, like the less the better. I'm like, I know how messed up it can make people being in the limelight. Like someone with 900 followers, that's me. So I'm really intrigued by this. Like,
so like what I
just your
see.
experience with dating. Has it changed since you've sort of had a bit of a presence on social media, or have you? Or it doesn't even you don't even have to relate it to social media. Like, have you been? Do you find it's more of a challenge to find authentic guys, or just guys that you're actually attracted to, or is it?
I find in general there's just no one. But I do get a lot of messages, but
you'd get
again,
so
I just
many
don't reply to anything.
Yeah.
I just open it and I'm like, yeah, cool, just ignore it. I don't even like look at their profile or anything. So if you slide into my DMs, I'm probably not going to reply, to be honest.
Why?
I don't know. I'm not big on dating in general. It takes me a lot to, you know, connect with someone, trust someone. I get this question all the time, like, are you dating someone? Like, do you have a boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I like to keep, you know, my pages, you know, fitness and everything. And when I start letting the personal life seep into that, you know, then my personal life starts to become work, and I don't love that. But yeah, I would much prefer to meet someone rather than, you know, start messaging.
100%. Yeah. You mentioned it's just hard to find someone in general. What does that someone look like? Like, what are the characteristics in a man that you actually attracted to?
You know, similar values, just wants to, you know, be the best version of themselves, is hardworking. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I have some. I'm trying not to describe this one person.
Oh, you have someone in your mind that you're trying. You're like, I really like this dude, and he's just like, just start describing him. Let's go.
Just really down to earth, just nice, really caring. You know, doesn't have an ego or anything. Just a genuine person, pretty much. Similar, like, you know, obviously, like in the fitness space would help, but it's not everything.
But they've got to be fit, because you're like, especially if you're really heavily into it, like, you're going to be attracted in someone that's got a really good body, that's like more athletic. Someone's like, because that's what it was like. I feel like that typically is the way it goes.
Have you seen that thing where you usually look for someone who
is you?
Kind of you,
yeah. I've seen that. I'm like, why do I keep attracting these blonde girls all the time?
And you look in the mirror, you're like, oh, I'm like, siblings are dating.
Blonde hair, blue eyes. Okay, that's where that one came from. I'm like, geez. No, I mean, my ex was brunette, to be fair, but I don't think. I think you're typically drawn to it. So you would like tall, dark, and handsome with muscles that likes training at the gym. There you go, guys. If anyone wants, you're like, you just described it way better than I ever could.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's so funny. I love it. I'm going to ask you a question, which is like, it's an interesting question. I'm keen to see if you know the answer to this question or not. But it's, if you could get up tomorrow. I've actually never asked this question before to anyone, because I'm really intrigued by this question. So if you could get up tomorrow and do whatever you want, wherever you want, with whoever you want, what would you do?
That's a very broad question.
It's very broad, but the reason I ask it is because I find that when I'm goal setting, a money goal or a follower goal or something like that isn't a big enough driver for me. Like it doesn't hold enough weight. But if I sit down and go, okay, what does my dream day look like? Like that shit inspires me. Like for me, like I've written that out in depth. Like from start to finish, like as the sun's rising in my penthouse in Palm Beach, the automatic blinds open up. My wife taps me on the shoulder and says, "Good morning, babe." It's literally in first person, narrated it all. I'm not saying go and narrate that right now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, is there certain things that if you could have a dream day, like what would be the main things within that day, and where would it be? Would it be in the Gold Coast? Would it be somewhere else?
Every time I walk along the beach, I look up at those, penthouse apartments. You're like, that's one day.
Which ones? Like in Burleigh or something?
Yeah, like Palmy, just all along there.
Yeah.
Or even one of those houses. Like, I just think how awesome would it be, walk out first thing in the morning, watch the sunrise from your deck, having your morning coffee, grab your dog, go out for a beach walk back in, cook breakfast, and then, do emails or whatever you have to do. Just being in a position where, I guess you're very comfortable living, how you want. I would love to have a business eventually. It was funny. I've only been asked this question like so many times within the past month alone about my 5-year goals. I've never gotten asked it before, and I've never really given enough thought about it. But the last 2 weeks, my mind's just been racing. And
next 5 years, so those are like 5-year goals.
5-year goals.
Yeah, and you said you wanted to have your own business.
Yeah, I mean that would be incredible.
You kind of do though, like
in a sense. But
is all your programs through Move With Us, or are you selling?
I have it. Yeah.
Are they all with Move With Us?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, so each coach, has their style of training, and they release they fully write their whole thing, release your 6-week program, and members of the Move With Us community are able to either do that or jump between them. And then we've got a run club tomorrow morning actually, which will be really fun. And just, I don't know, it gives that sense of community, and which is honestly so important.
Yeah, for sure. So you didn't have programs before you were with Move With Us?
No. Yeah, so I only released my first ever program in February.
Why was that?
I've always wanted to.
This February?
Yeah.
So you had
literally
hundreds of thousands of followers and you never had a program?
Yeah. My DMs were flooded daily.
Did you do any one-on-one stuff? Nothing. Why?
I don't know. I always wanted to, and then
what was holding you back?
Well, I came on board with Move With Us last year, and then from there I knew there was a program going to be eventually, so I guess I was just kind of waiting for it to come out. But again, like I said, everything happens for a reason. If I launched my program 1-2 years ago, it wouldn't have been how I liked it, because again, my mindset and my training style has shifted so much. So it really launched at the perfect time, because I started writing this hybrid program in September last year, and then it launched in February, right at the peak of, this crazy hybrid training. What's the word?
Just boom.
Yeah. And then it launched in February, and of course everyone just jumped on it because everyone started hearing about, this hybrid training. It's in the middle of all my growth as well, so it's just, plugged very seamlessly in.
I think that's powerful too. But then also I guess the other thing is you've built up this trust and audience for so long now. Like you're like, it's a starving market. Like they're keen, like they want some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to have people listening to this now, some girls that have been following you that just love your stuff. And I'm sure you really inspire people to post content as well and start like...
I get a lot of messages, with advice about content as well.
Yeah. What would be your advice to someone starting out? Stay clear. I'm joking. It's definitely not. What would be your advice to someone starting out?
Just start, and don't get caught up in doing something because someone else is doing it and it's working for them. If it doesn't align with you and you don't feel comfortable doing it, you don't have to. I learnt that the hard way. I was looking at what everyone else is doing. You know, you go on TikTok, girls are dancing to these trending sounds. I've been there.
Started dancing.
I've done that. I look back on it now and I'm like, oh,
Are they
God.
public still, all those dances?
They are.
Oh,
I
shit.
need to unpublic them. But yeah, if you look back and you're like, oh, like cringing at your own content, it probably doesn't align with you, and, you know, just do what you want to do. I look back at my content now, like all my reels, I'm like, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Because, you know, it's, sending the message that I want to send.
But also those shitty videos and cringy videos were so important in your growth anyway. I think they are.
Yeah,
Because
probably in hindsight, probably.
pressing play is like the first thing people just won't do.
Mm.
And I think the more times you post videos, the more confident that you get.
Yeah.
Like every
Sure.
time.
Yeah.
But now you're at a good level where you're happy with what's coming out, which is great. I'm in the same boat. Like you post things and like every video you like, it's good.
Yeah.
Which is a cool place to be in.
Yeah. And when you're proud of a video, you're like, okay, yeah, cool. And then I guess when your quality improves and, you know, you practice, like if you practice anything, you're obviously going to get better. Like for my first reels, absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously when your quality improves as well, Instagram likes that and pushes it out even more. And I think everyone else appreciates the quality too.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Before we wrap up the show, is there anything that you want to share? Like, have you got something like that's exciting that you're working on, or is there something that, I don't know, a message or a mantra or something that you'd want to share to the audience? Hitting you with all these broad questions.
This is a thinker.
You don't have to have anything. Just if you're working on anything cool that you might want to share with someone, or we didn't talk about something you wanted to speak about.
All right, there's a few ideas, you know, brands being thrown around in the back end. Just going through, you know, a couple of decisions again about what I want the next 5 years to look like. But yeah, I guess.
No, that's cool.
I mean, in a year or so, you'll probably see what I'm talking about if
Yeah,
anything
cool.
eventuates. Yeah.
Do you think there's a shiny object syndrome? There's like a lot of different opportunities and you get like
massively.
presented with things, and if you say yes to one, you've got to say no to another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's even, I've learned to say no a lot, because when I first started, I was like, yes, yeah, I'll do it. And then I was like, oh shit, this is actually a lot of stuff that I have to do. But you learn to be very selective with who you work with, because obviously when you build such a trusting audience, they trust you because you don't, you know, bullshit them. You actually promote things that you genuinely like. And I think people can see right through that as well. When something you know, it's transactional and you're just posting it for the sake of getting a lump sum of money, people can see that, and then that trust, you know, disintegrates.
Yeah, and also the comp deals, taking too many of those and having to do all these deliverables for free shit is just not it.
Yeah.
It's just not it.
Yeah.
It's funny. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pocket. I really appreciate it. Actually, the first girl on the show, which is so cool. Couldn't think of a better person, so it'd be great. And I'm keen for the audience to hear your story and get inspired by the stuff you're doing and keep killing it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Annabelle.